Hey there, YouTubers. All right, so we're going to do a quick overview of the BIOS for the AsRock H470 Phantom Gaming 4 motherboard. Now, I have a Pentium G6400 in here, so this is your BIOS actually is going to look a little different in here. And why is that? Let me show you. All right, so taking a look at the website for this motherboard, it says it supports Intel's Extreme Memory Profile 2.0. Now it also shows you the RAM that is supported, and of course if you come over to support memory, you'll see the actual supported speed. So you could put all this super fast RAM in here, and if you have an i7 or an i9, this is the highest speed you supposedly will get. Now I've heard some reports from people saying they were able to get to 3,000. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I was going to experiment with it today. I've got at least 5 different types of RAM that's, 3,000 and up. So whether they'll work or not is another story. All right, let's go back to what we're looking at. We don't need the webcam. Go back to this. And boom. So I'm having a little problem with my CPU cooler. This is a Noctua. It is acting up for some reason. I've installed it, uninstalled it, and something's going on with it. But we should have lower temp, so ignore that in the middle there. All right. So when you first boot up into BIOS, you'll hit the delete key and the or the F2, and that'll bring you into easy mode here. And this is basically what you're going to see. General information. You see the CPU that we have, processor speed. You see the RAM. There's my Patriot 4133 megahertz RAM that currently is 2133, and we'll look at that a little bit more here. If I had a storage device on here, you would see those as well. You see the fan speed in the middle there, and I've got this thing cranking to keep it keep the temp down. And then in here is where InstaFlash is, or if you wanted to check out fantastic tuning, you could go in here and take a look at your different fans and set those up. All right. Over here we see the motherboard temperature, CPU voltage, the time, which this is Eastern Standard, it looks like. Up here we could save and exit, discard changes. You have the ability to turn off your RGB up here. So let's go ahead and jump over to advanced mode. We'll get back to this in a second. So usually when you come in here the first time, it shows up in main, and once again, all this general information. This is your revision for your BIOS, which was on the other screen, and I didn't call that out, but I'll have another video where I update this. Under OC Tweaker, now this is one of those things where, because this is the crappy Pentium, and if I had a Cellphone in here it'd be even crappier, but this does not support turbo boost, so this would be the spot where you could disable turbo boost. And just letting you see what's on this menu. And now under RAM, I believe starting at i3, and I'll have to check that, you will see XMP in here. Now what does that mean? If I hit XMP, hit auto, depending on the CPU, this should have shot up to that higher speed. Now whether I would be able to select a higher speed is another story. I have another AsRock B460M-ITX AC that you cannot go above, this value, which is dependent on your CPU. So an i5 and below is 2666, i7, i9, 2933. But like I said, this is not what you're going to see if you have a i3 and above. So ability to mess with the timings, you can do that down here. And oh yeah, the whole point of me doing this, so that's set to 2666. Let's go back out. You have the ability to adjust some aspects of the voltage. Of course, if you were going to mess with your timings, that's where the DRAM voltage is. All right, let's go over to advanced. Try and do this quick for y'all. CPU. So interesting. I'm surprised this isn't grayed out. This is where you would enable or disable the Intel hyper-threading technology. And I have yet to mess with this, but active cores. So we only have 2 cores on this thing. That is interesting. I've been honestly tempted to drop one of those down one of these days, which makes me wonder if that affects turbo boost on your other CPU, on the better CPUs. So you see what's in here. Chipset. We'll take a look at that real quick. So some of these things will be the same for the other CPUs, but RGB LED, if you had that hooked up to your motherboard, you could turn that off here. Storage doesn't really show you anything exciting. Now USB, you can enable or disable your ports here. And let's move on. Tools. This is one of the places you can flash your BIOS. Not going to mess with any of these, but if you wanted to sanitize your NVMe, you could do that here. As well as set up the network. Hardware monitor. This is where you can get basic metrics on your stuff. And since the AC is dropped on and I set the fan speed up higher, the CPU is actually cooling down quite a bit. So there's all the other stuff. Quite a bit of information you can find in here about your computer. Let's go over to security. If you wanted to create a password to stop people from getting into your BIOS, you could do that here. Now, if we had drives available, this would show you the priorities right in this area. There's nothing here. If you want to do fast boot, which of course there's a warning here, so I'll let you read that. And that's all over here, folks. So to save these changes, we'll go over to exit. Save changes and exit. If we didn't like what we did, we would do that here. And that's going to do it for this video, folks. Thanks for checking out. Please like, please subscribe.